Welcome back, guys, to another episode of BurlyFishing and another unboxing, a quarantine unboxing, if you will, of the mystery tackle box versus the monster bass. These titans of the mystery box fishing subscription box industry going head to head. I've been doing these for a while. Hopefully you guys enjoy them. Hopefully you have a lot of fun. Hopefully you learn a lot as we go along. And of course, if you guys like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel, hit that like button, and ring that notification bell so you see when we post more videos. Let's get right into this one though today. The Mystery Tackle Box Elite Box. This is the $39.99 box versus now the Monster Bass Regional Box at $36.99. So relatively similar in price. So we're gonna compare the Elite Box today to that Regional Box. I think they have an equal number of baits. Should be about 8 lures or 8 baits per box that we're gonna be comparing head to head here. So let's crack right into it. And you guys know how this goes. So first of all, if you guys haven't gotten these boxes before, here's what you're kind of in for. Both of them very similar box build. We have our fish ruler right across the top there. Crack that bad boy open. We got our monster bass box here. Same thing, right? That fish ruler. What I do like, is both of them are referencing where to go for added tips. Monster Bass has your spring, summer, fall, winter kind of tips and guides on where to find fish and what to throw at them. And then they're both gonna have some handouts and some stickers. So we're gonna get those out of the way first. This box, kind of cool. We actually have an opportunity and a QR code that we can enter right there. So if you guys get your box, you can snap a pic of that QR code and enter the Angler X Monster Bass giveaway. So we got an opportunity to win $250 worth of baits from Monster Bass, which is pretty rad. So you gotta have the Angler app, you scan this QR code, boom, boom, get your own, and you catch 20 fish. You record them in the system and you have an opportunity to win $250 in Monster Bass baits. That's pretty friggin' rad. Also, we got our sticker. This month, we've got the, you know what's going on. We got our quarantine mask, so it's pretty rad. So quarantine bass mask right there. Cool sticker. Obviously it's a serious situation going on. A lot of you guys are stuck at home. Hopefully you're all safe. Hopefully you're all healthy. Hopefully you're all trying to get out and go fish. This is what they did last month. The only good Corona is an empty one. So stay thirsty, my friends. So that is another Monster Bass sticker from last month's box. Always fun. Of course, there we also have the value of the baits. I'm just going to compare them. We're going to go head to head. Carl's, we've got our same thing, value card right there. We got our Dibble Digest tips and tricks. I don't know what to say about this sticker, but it's nifty. They do nifty stickers like this. So stickers are neat, guys. You do whatever you want with them. All right, guys, looks like we're in for a treat here. So we're gonna go head to head with these boxes here, bait for bait, lure for lure. What we're looking for is fishability. Would you fish it? Would you throw it right now? For me personally, I'm looking for baits that I enjoy fishing with. Novelty is great and everything, and I've told you guys in previous videos, I'll fish a novel bait because heck, it'd be awesome if I caught a fish on it, right? But I'm looking for reliability more than that. And more than that even is confidence baits, things that I love to throw and I will catch fish on. So that's how I will personally decide which box I enjoyed the most this month, and I will actually let you know this month for the first time which box I enjoyed, but I will continue getting the subscription from both. So let's get after it, boys. Let's start with the Monster Bass box. First one out the gate, we got a Booyah Buzz Bait. So if you guys haven't fished a buzz bait before, what you're looking at is a topwater bait that looks kind of like a spinner, right? So we got that hard wire. Crack this bad boy open for you guys. Ooh, oh, okay. All right, so we got our Booyah Buzzbait, the chartreuse and white, my favorite colors. So this, by the way, this regional box is for the Midwest, Great Lakes region, which is where I live in Michigan, the North America high five. And these are colors I throw literally all year long and catch fish on them. Great for stained water conditions, great for everything around me because I don't have a ton of ultra clear or ultra dirty water. It's mostly kind of stained, especially in my rivers. So chartreuse and white, I like the details on the head, right? So we got a little pattern there, a little red eye situation, but check out these little streamer lines coming off of this bad boy. So those are stretchy. Those are not going to just break off on you, but it adds a nice little flash to this thing. So we've got not just chartreuse and white, but these little streamers coming off of there as well. And then what the buzzbait does essentially is you got this big old metal blade right there. And as you fish this thing, your line is rigged here, you're swimming it across the top of the water. This thing is gonna just be kicking up water. So it's spitting water all over the place, it's causing a ruckus, and it gets bass pissed off. So they'll go ahead and they'll bite that. Now you might also wanna throw a trailer hook on this thing just to make sure you don't miss any of those bites. But buzzbaits will absolutely kill it. This is a 3/8 ounce. It's called the Squelcher by Booyah, just so you guys are, in case you keep track. Over to MTB, again, we got the Elite Box here, and we're gonna start with topwater again with them. So I'll try and say like similar lure to lure situation. So here we have a Strike Pro. So this one's called a Swing Pop, which is a topwater, cup mouth, scoop mouth, however you wanna call it, jitterbug style, if you will, walking bait. Similar to an amazing classic bait. If you guys have never fished this before, check it out, a jitterbug. This is gonna have that big wide mouth cup at the front of this bait. And what that's gonna do is as you, obviously your line tie is right here, as you walk this back, this is gonna make some crazy wide erratic movements as you do that. And this cup's gonna spit water, right? So much like a popper, this is gonna be causing a reaction strike. Got 2 treble hooks to catch the fish on, and we've got more of a bluegill pattern to this bad boy right there. So check that out. Pretty cool colorway. Nice topwater bait, something I'd probably throw. Again, it's a Swing Pop 85 by Strike Pro. So that's MTB. Back to Monster Bass. We're going ChatterBait. So we're moving down the water column. Still staying pretty noisy. This works for me right now. It's been stormy, windy, crazy. You gotta do something to really stand out. And we're sticking with that colorway that I just said works really well. So here we have a Lunker Hunt Kraken. This is a 1/2 ounce ChatterBait style bait, a blade bait, if you will. These ChatterBaits by Lunker Hunt are a little different. It's almost a combination between a chatterbait that you would see like from Z-Man and a shutterbait. With this chatter positioned the way it is on that head of that fish, and with this swing and trailer hook off the back, we're gonna get a bit of a wider vibration type movement at the head of that, right? Which is cool. It's just a different way to fish it. You also got that chartreuse and white, and then we've got some of that streamer, that flash in there as well, if you guys can see that, which is pretty nice. Something I'm definitely interested in. Don't have a lot of chartreuse and white chatterbaits. Actually, I don't have any. So this gives me something totally different to throw. And then we've got that gold blade at the front, which would be nice for low light conditions and the stained water that I fish. So there you go. 2 big wins right off the bat. Back to MTB, we've got a Begley Shad. So this is gonna be another topwater, high water column type bait. So we've got a really light 5/16 ounce topwater style bait with this little propeller on the back, which you guys see our line ties up here. As we fish this across the surface, this propeller is going to spin, cause some kind of gurgling, right? Which is again going to incite that reaction strike from the fish. 2 treble hooks, decent size, like a medium sized treble hook right there. That'll help you land those fish. Pro tip with these topwater baits, these 2 guys right here, if you get a strike, don't rip it out of the fish's dang mouth. You will be so mad and you will miss so many fish. So it's not an instant reaction to it. Poppers, topwaters, walking baits, all those kinds of things. These 2 as well. So this is a gurgling bait and this is more of a jitterbug style walking bait on the top. Let the fish hit, let it take it underwater real quick. Give it like a second, a moment, a pause, and then set the hook. That way the fish has a full chance to like actually get the hooks in its mouth, and then you'll land more fish, which is good. Back to Monster Bass. So we have a bait lab, what looks to be like a crankbait. I'll show you guys in a second why I say looks to be. So it looks a little different. Bait lab. crankbait. And notice it looks kind of different. So this lip is a lot more tapered than you normally get on your crankbaits, yet not as wide as you would get with a square bill. And this seems to be something in between. So by the description on here, this is actually a floating crankbait. So it's called an Ultimate Strike Shad. 1/2 ounce weight, so easy to cast it way out there. But this thing's gonna dive about what is listed as, hang on, metric system people, 2.5 to 3.5 meters, and it's gonna float. So you fish it down, it's gonna float back up at a slow pace, which will get you strikes for sure. Got a heavy rattle. Oh, by the way, measurement people, it's 4 to 10 feet. It does say on the box. I didn't do the math. You can do the math yourself. But got a heavy rattle. I think it's gonna dive pretty quick. It's not gonna have, with that tapered lip there, it's not gonna have as crazy erratic an action as you normally get with wider lips like a square bill, but it's not gonna dive too deep. So we got 4 to 10 feet. We'll take this sucker down. We can vary up your retrieve and have some fun with something like this. But it's got a little bit of a flash to it, which is nice. A little more of a translucent type body. That bright green eye there is pretty hot. We got the white belly and orange right below the lip there. So looks pretty good. Nice color, almost more of a bluegill flash that you might get. So, I mean, I can see it getting bites. We'll see. We're going to test this sucker out, huh? Going back to MTB, I got to do this one. What do I do with this? So we have an Evergreen Baits International deep diving crankbait, and that is a big boy. So we're gonna bust this sucker out. Look at that camo. So the box has camo in it, and this thing is this rad orange. Ooh, it's a super heavy rattle if you guys can hear that. There's basically a can of Budweiser in here. This is the most ridiculous looking crankbait I think I've ever seen. So we have this bright, violent orange here with, you know, some craw patterns to it, a little tint of the red up towards the top. The lip is painted too, so it's gonna flash even more compared to your red and your orange baits where you have like the translucent lip, things like that, a little bit different. Got decent trebles on the back, and it's a 16-foot deep diver. Look at that lip, nuts. So if I find myself in really dirty water, which I already told you guys I don't usually, and I've got fish on open dirty water, maybe I go for this. I don't know. I'm gonna fish it. That's a beast. This has to be like literally chocolate milk I'm fishing. I don't know. Where would you guys fish this? Let me know in the comments. But that is interesting. Let's do it, okay? Let's go back over to Monster Bass. So this one I'm actually excited about because teaser land, every time people open these boxes, I see what's in the boxes ahead of time, so I try to be surprised for you guys when I finally get to open my own, but here we are. So this is a Rip Snorter. It's by Chase Baits. These guys are out of Australia, and apparently this thing just crushes it down under, if you will. And this one right here, it's weedless, riggable weedless. We've got 2 hooks, so there's a spare hook right there. Okay, so here we go. So I finally got it out of the package. We got the Rip Snorter by Chase Baits. And this is just this nice, durable, it's listed as a 10X durable, so it should be a very durable soft plastic bait, right? So we have a little paddle tail, a little swim in action. I'm gonna swim a little more like a fluke with that tapered tail there versus the heavy paddle. It's a 1/2 ounce, so I mean, it's got a little bit of weight. We're gonna be able to cast this a mile. And then we have the underspin. Now the underspin, I'm excited about. Where I fish, underspin friggin' kills it right now, especially we got some spawn going on. And we're getting bait fish all over the place. So this will be good. And this rear hook is actually replaceable. I don't know what the difference will be. This seems to be the same exact size hook. I got it replaceable, that's cool. Weight is up front here in the plastic, so we're gonna want this plastic to survive as long as possible. But you guys look at the detail on that. We got some blue, some silver, got that translucent underbelly there, that's cool. Red on the gill. Nice eyes on this thing that seem well built. Normally the eyes just like pop off on most of these things, so that looks pretty good. Definitely fishing this. So back to MTB. So we've got some Katana hooks. It's a screw lock weighted EWG hook. In this case, the weight we've got is a 1/8 ounce. And we get 4 of them in this pack. They are a 4/0 hook. It's a stout hook. About as heavy a gauge hook as I'm gonna ever fish, for sure. That's like bigger than most of my jigs. But anyways, so we got a big fat screw lock. I'm guessing this is gonna pair with one of the plastics in here, so we'll get to that in a second. And then we have this extra little weight there. It's almost a belly weight, so you could probably swim this. Not sure what we're gonna pair it up with. We'll see in a minute. All right, back to Monster Bass. We've got a jig. We have a candy craw colored lifted jigs football jig. Pretty pumped about this actually. Lifted jigs, if you guys have watched any of my recent videos in the Ned rig fishing trips I've been on recently, been using their EWG Ned hook. And if you guys haven't used that, go check it out. It's a mushroom style jig head with an EWG so you can rig your Ned rig weedless. Genius, fantastic. I love it. I've been catching fish on them a ton. So that's awesome. So here's another one I get to use now I'm excited about. And we have here the candy grass color. So we got green, we got purple, lots of flash there, gonna look good. And let me show you guys this. So this is 3/8 of an ounce. And the rad thing about this is we got the screw locks. So we're gonna be able to rig up a bait and probably keep it on here a lot longer with that screw lock, which is rad. And of course we can rig it weedless. So normally your football headed jigs, you're gonna have your brush guard, right? Which is mostly weedless, but you definitely still get hung up. You'll slide your bait on and you'll have the exposed hook. In this case, we're gonna use that screw lock and we're gonna rig it weedless. So we can throw this thing wherever. And I like that because I like to throw my jigs into the dirty, nasty areas and I get hung up a lot. It just happens, especially on my rivers. All right, back to MTB, we're moving along. We've got a Swim Max Jig by Stanley. Reel it, feel it. That's what they say. So it's 3/8 of an ounce. They are made in the US of A. And here we go, awesome. Love swim jigs. This is a different color for me. I think swim jigs I have are mostly white, chartreuse, that kind of deal. So this is a little darker color. We've got the green pumpkin, red fleck, chartreuse for a little bit of flash there. And look at those eyes, big bright eyes. Nice brush guard, should be pretty good. And how you know you got a swim jig is it's this flat style there with that tapered head. This is something where we're gonna cast it out there, reel it back, kind of pause, let this thing fall down like a dying bait fish, or we'll just swim it with a steady retrieve. But the point is we can pretty much throw this anywhere, especially into tough cover situations where the fish are gonna be right now, where they got their food at. Back to Monster Bass. You guys are gonna regret making me upgrade to this Elite box because now we got 1 billion more baits to go through. But here we go. We'll get these hooks out of the way real quick. A variety pack, okay. So brand is Sandbar Tackle. Not sure who that is. Well, they're out of Corpus Christi, Texas. So they are American made, which is all you need to know. Small to large, 2/0, 3/0, and a 4/0 hook. So I mean, if I were to just take this box out there, I've got a pretty good variety of hooks right on hand. Back to MTB, we do have one more crankbait in here, so I'm gonna knock this out. So we have a Bandit Lures, shallow diving crankbait. It's not quite a square bill, just got a fatter lip on this sucker. Bandit Lures, pearl belly, black top right there, some yellow eyes, a little pink on that underside. And we've got a small lip, so it's a shallow diving. Got a little bit of weight to it, decent rattle. It's gonna dive 4 to 8 feet. So good for most situations for me. Cast it out there, that white flash will look pretty good. Consistent with some of the bait fish around me. So we'll see what happens there. Am I bleeding on everything? Not bleeding on everything. I don't stab myself every time I do these videos. Yes, I do. MTB, we're back to Monster Bass. We've got 2 baits left in each, and guess what? We're down to the plastic. So let's hit this sucker up. We have the Gina LaRue Salt Advantage, these guys. Okay, I can get behind this. So we've got shaky head style worm. Check out the tail on that thing. So we've got an extremely tapered tail. I am a pretty shaky person, but this is literally just all the action from this plastic right now. So extremely tapered on that tail. And there's even a little bit of an extra, get down to this, flange on the end, so that's gonna catch and move with the water. So this is actually something that's gonna pair perfectly up with this lifted Jigs football jig. What? So weird that they would plan it this way. So it's gonna look really good, that green pumpkin pairing up with this candy grass setup right there. Awesome. And because it is screw locked, we can rig this sucker weedless. Seems like decently durable plastic here, and drag that literally anywhere we want. So I think that is definitely gonna catch some fish. And that's the thing too, guys, is like we gotta be looking for in these boxes, can you take just this box with you with a fishing rod and reel and line and catch some dang fish? That's what we want. Oh, sorry, we'll get to that in a second. All right, so back to MTB. We have, I'm trying to figure out which is paired with which here. So we have Buddha Bait Co. Cool. 7-inch swagger worm. Hot dang, dude. Is that supposed to be here? Okay. That's interesting. All right, so we've got this like tapered fat to skinny section here on this worm. This is a candy grass color, so it's again that green and purple. And then this giant paddle at the end that has this interesting little notch in it. Check that out. What? So I assume that's gonna let some water pass through, probably gonna create a lot more action with this thing. And obviously, not obviously, but I'm gonna assume here that this is gonna just get paired up with that weighted EWG hook. So we can just pair that sucker up just like that. So we can cast that out, we can hop it along the bottom like you would a Texas rig worm. We can swim it because of this crazy paddle on the end here. We do all sorts of stuff with this thing. So got our rig right there. Last bait I'm really excited about in this monster bass. So this is Rabid Baits. This is a custom color that is only for monster bass. And this is the Rabid Craw. Get one of these guys out here, you'll see why it's something I'm excited about being a Midwest fisherman. So we have this chunky, whoo, oh, wow, they got some scent to them. But we got this chunky little craw pattern here, but check this out. Look at those claws. So there's a crazy amount of action here. And as you guys can see, there's some hair coming out, which to me is awesome. I fly fish as well, and this reminds me of some sort of like crossover between the two worlds for me. But that hair is gonna have some amazing action. If you guys have ever fished like a marabou jig or some hair jigs or things like that, you know it's got crazy action. So this is gonna be awesome. It's the right color for me for the rivers, and because of that base body right there, guess what? We're gonna Ned rig it, and it's gonna slam some smallmouth. So I'm pumped about this. I've seen people catching tons of fishies on it, and I want to as well. And I will this weekend, hopefully. So there we go. All right, last one from MTB, we've got Xzone lures. And this, my friends, is a big, fat, black and blue beaver style plastic. Look at that baby right there. We do only have 4. They're pretty big. So these have floating claws. Those little flanges there are gonna move a lot more. This, I wouldn't really pair it with anything that came in here. We got black and blue to green and chartreuse. No thanks. I mean, you could, why not? But I would pair it up with a black and blue jig, which I would probably have on me. We could pair it with that weighted hook again. So we pair one of these weighted EWG hooks with the adrenaline bug, and we pair one up with that crazy Buddha worm, the swagger worm, right? So we could have 2 different baits that we didn't cast out, right? So we still have a riggable setup. I'd rather see this for me on a Tokyo rig or a jig, black and blue jig, just big fat body, or Texas rigged with the weight at the top, or flipping weight. Maybe flip this actually. This type of body, I'd flip this all day long. So I'd rig it a little bit differently than that weighted EWG hook, but that's me. Let me know what you guys would do. Okay, round up, close out, here we go. We've got Xzone lures, that adrenaline bug, black and blue. This is MTB, by the way. We've got the Buddha Bait Co. Swagger worm, that 7-inch worm with a really weird paddle tail. We've got our Strike Pro, what is this, the Swing Pop, right? That jitterbug style, longer body walking bait. We've got our Begley, this gurgling bait with our little prop on the back right there. We've got the Bandit Lures, pearl and black, shallow diving crankbait. We've got this ridiculous, gigantic orange monster that dives 16 feet. So, remember this rattle. Holy cow. We've got our Stanley Jigs swim jig. And then we've got these Katana screw lock hooks with that little 1/8 ounce belly weight right there. That was MTB. Monster Bass, we had the Rabid Baits Rabid Craw, probably my favorite bait out of both of these boxes. The Jean LaRue, that Salt Advantage worm, it's a shaky head style worm with that extremely tapered tail section at the end. We had that Lifted Jig screw lock, completely weedless setup football head jig and candy grass. We had our Bait Lab shallow diving floating crankbait. We got that Rip Snorter. That's the underspin weedless rigged swim bait. We had the variety pack of EWG hooks from 2/0 to 4/0. We had that Lunker Hunt Kraken and that white and chartreuse. And then we started it all off with this bad boy right here. That's that Booyah Buzz bait in that white and chartreuse. All right, guys. I often get asked this question, which of these boxes was my favorite? And today for me, that would be Monster Bass. I think this is a box that I would take out there and fish no problem and catch some monsters. And it was, you know, for me also, it's just like I would fish every single one of these baits every time. There was no novelty in it for me necessarily. You know, from the MTB, there's some dope lures in here for sure. Things I will definitely fish, don't get me wrong. But I will not likely fish this a lot. But I will fish it. I will try. It's just not, what do we say at the beginning? Like, I need a confidence bait, something that I know I can catch fish on, something I enjoy. You know, I like a little variety, but mostly I get these boxes so I can check out new brands of things that I like in different formats. Like that Rabid Baits Craw, I fish the Z-Man craws all the time and catch tons of smallmouth bass. I'm excited to test this out as a different variation of that. Right? Something new, something different, but something I know I'm confident in. We do have some cool topwaters in here. We got an extra crankbait and the plastics are definitely decent. So, I mean, I'm gonna throw this stuff. Just for me, it's a little more on the Monster Bass side. So you guys let me know in the comments though, what your favorite box was. As always, I try to let the lures decide. So hopefully this was objective enough for you guys. But just let me know in the comments, what did you think? Which box wins the better box war? And as always, if you guys liked the content, please subscribe to the channel. That helps me out a lot. I appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit the notification bell, and share this video with some fishing friends. If you got somebody who's in the market for a box and they can't decide, these are the two titans of the industry. So if you want to pit them head to head, and let your buddy figure it out for themselves. That's why I make these videos, right? That's what this is all about. So share the video with them, help them decide which one's the better box. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you out on the water.